I'm Jendo with Combat Sports UK, and you're tuned in to the UKFC 18 preview show.
Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Thank you guys for tuning in. It is a pleasure to bring you guys this preview show. There are 4 pro fights slated to take place at UKFC 18. At the top of the pro bill is Mike Thompson, who stands 2-1 in his pro career and whom you will be hearing from just a little bit later on. Louis Lee Scott vs. Dare Tomaine is another of the pro bouts set for Saturday. This fight pits a couple of promising prospects up against one another in a bout that is sure to deliver. Elsewhere on the pro card, we've got Corey Fry and Connor Hughes, who stand at 2-0 and 3-0 respectively, who each take on fighters making their pro debut. What the card lacks in pro fights, it more than makes up for with an absolutely loaded amateur slate, including a staggering 25, I repeat, 25 scraps, 3 of which being title fights. Before we touch on the amateur card, I spoke with Mike Thompson ahead of his UKFC 18 bout. Here's what Mike had to say, exclusively on Combat Sports UK.
Now up, 2-1 pro lightweight Mike Thompson, who looks to rebound from his first professional loss this weekend at UKFC 18 versus Martin Fuda. How's camp going, Mike?
Boss, brilliant. Had the best camp. The best camp, actually, honest. Like, obviously, as anyone knows, going through a camp in any sport, but definitely in mixed martial arts, it's rough on the body, but no, I've had a great camp.
With this being your first fight since your first ever defeat, how important is it for you to just get back in the win column by any means necessary?
Hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. Get the win and get back moving. Obviously, the last camp was a terrible camp and a tough fight that could have went either way. Tough, obviously, gutted to get your first loss, gutted for a good bit, but back on the back hungrier than ever to succeed. And yeah, we're going to get back in the win column Saturday.
So, what did you learn from, and what improvements can we expect to see out of you since that Klichnikov fight?
You're going to see big improvements, just massive all-round improvements, really. I've just... The fight was a tough fight, and I'd hurt myself in the fight as well, so I didn't pull off exactly what I wanted to do. But no excuses made whatsoever. It was a tough fight, and as I say, it wasn't the night, was it? But no, definitely, you're going to see a big improved lefty Saturday night, I promise you that.
In your 2 pro wins, you have both a knockout and submission victory in under 60 seconds. How does this fight end for you?
It ends with me being a savage in some form of way, whether that's grappling or striking. I've never been more confident or hungrier that he's going to get it, definitely. And I know he's a very experienced fighter, but the way I'm feeling at the minute, I'm ready for anyone.
Thank you so much for joining us, man. We hope to have you on in long form in the future, hopefully victorious. Good luck at UKFC 18. We look forward to seeing it.
Thanks so much, pal. Take it easy.
Thank you very much to Mike Thompson. You've got to love the confidence shown by Mike heading in. Hopefully all goes well for him, and we get to speak with him for the post-show as well. From the pros to the amateurs we go. The Amateur European Light Welterweight Championship will be on the line when 7-1 Reps MMA representative Chris Morris squares off with 10-4 Jose Machado in an intriguing clash between longtime established members of the amateur circuit. Manchester Predators fighter Tom Wright will face off with Aspire's Jack Axworthy, and only one man can walk out with the UKFC Bantamweight Championship. Axworthy looks to move to 5-0 on the amateur circuit and go home with gold in the process. The third amateur title fight will be contested in the flyweight division, where amateur almighty flyweight champion Shawan Chowdhury looks to move his amateur record to 7-1 and claim a second belt in a second promotion. In his way, 4-1 prospect fighting out of the highly touted Aspire Fight team, Luke Burns. Luke is coming off of his first ever loss at the amateur ranks and has a chance to completely wipe the defeat from memory if he is able to defeat Shawan Chowdhury and be crowned amateur UKFC flyweight champion. I was lucky enough to speak to both competitors ahead of this particular pairing.
Now joining us is the reigning Almighty FC champion and hopefully soon to be UKFC flyweight champion, Shawan Chowdhury. How is your mind and body ahead of this title fight at UKFC 18?
It's the same as always, really, just raring to go and just ready to perform come fight day. I mean, I train with the best, so I'm ready for whatever he's ready to throw at me.
Yeah, you're a member at the team over at Ace MMA. What do you have to say about that group as a whole, both the fighters and the coaches?
I mean, it's not just a team, it's a family with us. Like, we're constantly there supporting each other. And the fact that everyone's at such a high level just really makes it that much better. Like, we're not just a kind of group of guys who train together. We're a family who train together. And we're all close enough to the top of our division. There's Aaron and Sammy, top of their division. Sammy's fighting for the Ace Almighty title next. There's Shaj Hakma, head coach. He's the pro flyweight champion. Sam Creasy is the current Cage Warriors world champion. And Shaj has got a win over Sam Creasy. My coach, Jordan Cooper, 2 times British Open champion. My up-and-coming teammates, Marcus Shanks, Neil, and Niam, who's fighting alongside me as well.
Man, love the answer. I love to hear you show some shine to some of the other guys in the gym. After your first loss, you've responded by building a winning streak and winning a championship with Almighty. Now, going into a title fight with UKFC against someone who many would say is your toughest test yet, and he's a replacement opponent. A lot of people will say, hey, he's taking it on 3 weeks' notice, but you didn't know you were going to fight him until 3 weeks ago either. How do you make sure you don't overthink this going into this fight?
I mean, because I keep the same mentality going into every fight. I don't care who I'm fighting. I'm going out there to perform to the best of my ability. I don't care who you are. I'm going to try and impose my game on you. It doesn't matter whether you're an amazing striker, an amazing grappler. I'm coming there to put my game on you. It doesn't matter what your game is.
Is there any added pressure from the fight being in a new-to-you promotion? You've yet to fight in UKFC.
Not really. It's kind of a bit more of a buzz, really. I can't wait for the experience. It's the first time I'm gonna do a face-to-face for the fight, and it's just kind of it's these experiences that I want to experience before I turn pro, kind of get me ready for when I do eventually turn pro.
So, what are you looking forward to showing most in your scrap this weekend?
That's a secret answer. I can't just give anything away there. But I mean, you'll have to tune in and watch to find out.
Well, it gives the fans a reason to look. Before we let you go, do you have any last thoughts on your opponent, Luke Burns?
He's a really good opponent. I mean, he comes from Aspire, one of the best gyms in the UK. He's 4-1 for a reason. I mean, regardless of what the outcome is, it's going to be an amazing fight. I mean, you're just going to have to tune in and see what happens because, believe me, it's going to be a scrap.
Thank you so much for your time, champ. This fight has me and many others on the edge of our seats for this weekend. Wish you the best of luck.
No worries. Cheers, man.
Joining now is the man who will be stepping in on 3 weeks' notice and challenging for the UKFC Flyweight Championship this weekend. Luke Burns. Luke, how's the body feeling this close to fight day?
Oh, it feels great. Ready to go now. Can't wait. Looking forward to it.
You're in the interesting position of getting a title fight directly after your first ever loss. How would it feel to respond to your first ever loss by winning a championship in your very next fight?
Great. You know, it puts me in good spirits. Like, I know I've just came off that loss. I'm looking to show everyone that wasn't me. That was a different version of me, and now I'm here. You know, it's good. It's good to get a title shot straight after the loss. Not many people do get title shots after losing, so you know, shows. Can't wait now.
Does having a loss under your belt almost take a little of the pressure off of your shoulders in terms of your fight career? A lot of fighters talk about that first loss being one of the times where they can learn the most.
Yeah, I learned loads of that. I done the weight cut wrong. I learned loads. Just mentally as well going into this. I'm quite calm. Normally, I'm quite tense on fight week. I'm quite loose, I'm quite calm. So I learned loads more off that loss than I did after my previous 4 wins.
Does having only 3 weeks notice give you more or less to think about before this fight?
It's less, it's like normally if I was getting a title shot, I hadn't came at the best time because I had 3 weeks to think about the title fight, but I've also trained 8 weeks prior to that for another fight, which I ended up pulling out due to stuff. So it probably came at the best time. Like at the moment, this title shots came at the best time for me to fight for one.
You love to hear it. Where do you see yourself having the biggest advantage of this fight, and where does it end?
All of it. Just me stepping inside that cage. That's the biggest advantage for me. On the feet, on the ground, and the wrestling. I just feel like I'm going to be too big and too strong for him. I can't wait.
Thank you so much for your time, Luke. I wish you the best in your quest for UKFC Gold this weekend. Looking forward to seeing you get in there.
Thank you very much to both.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world,
What a
Michael
fight that is
Bisping.
going to come on Saturday. It's going to be a
Combat
scrap,
Sports
as Shallon
UK.
said.
And
We
you're
move
watching
into a
Combat
segment now that I
Sports
am
UK.
more than excited for, that being 3 fights to watch. As mentioned, Xiaowen Chowdhury versus Luke Burns is a must-see tilt to determine the UKFC flyweight champion. Both young men have finished all but one of their victories, and all of those finishes have come by submission. Chowdhury has 5, Burns has 3. Not only is this a battle between up-and-coming fighters, but of up-and-coming teams as well. Xiaowen Chowdhury represents Ace MMA, while Luke represents Aspire Combat Sports Academy. The cherry on top, in Chowdhury's sole loss, he was submitted. Luke's, he was TKO'd. There's a very good chance whoever walks out with flyweight gold on Saturday will walk out with a finish as well. Fight number 2 of 3 to keep an eye on, Chris Morris versus Jose Machado for the Amateur European Light Welterweight Championship is an absolute barn burner. With a record of 7-1, 4-0 in the UKFC, Chris Morris is looking to make a statement at the expense of Jose Machado and leave with the European Light Welterweight strap. Machado, on the other hand, is coming off of a very strong outing at the 2021 IMAF Senior World Championships held early in 2022, where he won 2 fights in the first 2 days before bowing out at the hands of the eventual runner-up, Salamat Isbulaev. The 2 men have 11 combined finishes in the amateurs, and number 12 just may come this weekend. Before we get to the 3rd entry on this list, how about an honorable mention? 4-0 Connor Dern is fighting 5-1 Aaron McDonald in the lightweight division. One of those men just may be nearing a title shot. Closing the list, 4-0 Callum Connor versus 2-1 Dennis Frimpong. Undefeated Callum Connor makes the attempt for 5-0 when he goes up against Ireland's Dennis Frimpong. While Callum may have the advantage on the feet, Dennis has a great all-around game that could help him thrive wherever this one goes. We spoke to Dennis earlier.
Now joining us is 2-1 amateur welterweight Dennis Frimpong, who is scheduled to face the 4-0 and highly touted Callum Connor. Thank you for joining us during your wake up, man. When I approached you for this interview, you preferred today as opposed to tomorrow due to, and I quote, being an antichrist. Just how rough is the end of that weight cut?
I mean, it's actually not too bad, but it's just like the lack of carbs after a few days definitely catches up to you. And I get a bit cranky. So yeah, it gets a bit techy.
Can blame me. So you secured a 3rd round finish in your last outing at FCC 27. How did it feel to get back in the win column after suffering your first loss?
So yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't really, like, at amateur especially, it doesn't really make a difference to me, that kind of way. I'm just out there to have a good time, give the crowd a bit of a show. Like, it's all experience at this stage anyway, and it was a close decision that I lost. I didn't really feel like in my own heart that I lost the fight, really. I feel like he won the judge's decision, but I won the fight, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So yeah, it was good. It was good to get back, obviously, get back in the green and get some momentum behind me as well.
Does that loss almost give you an advantage in a sense of having a loss behind you, just kind of knowing how it feels?
I wouldn't say so much like as I say, especially at amateur. Like I know guys that are like absolute savages, and they've like plenty of losses at amateur. You know what I mean? And as I said, it's all just experience. You know, it's all just part of growing as a fighter. Fixing the holes. You know, I fixed a lot of holes in my game from that second fight that I had, the one that I lost. Little things that I brought out then in the third fight. You know, so yeah.
So, who are some of the guys that have been helping you the most in preparation for this fight?
So I've done a lot all over the place for this fight. So obviously I've been training in Predators a lot. Still training out in Manchester Wrestling Club as well in Salford. Do my few bits of jiu-jitsu and stealth jiu-jitsu as well. And did about a week and a bit over back home in Ireland with the guys in Dublin Combat Academy. Just high-level striking rounds out there to prepare me for this guy. So,
where do you see your biggest advantage in this one, and how does this fight end?
I would say the grappling. Like I feel like in the striking, you know, we're probably neck and neck, and in the grappling, I feel like I'm going to outclass him. And I predict a second or a third round submission. A good chess match to start off with on the feet, and then it'll end up on the ground, and I'll end up choking him. Yeah.
Would love to see it. This is one of the fights I'm anticipating the most. Thank you so much for your time. I look forward to seeing you in there. Hopefully speak to you after the event, my man.
No worries. Thanks a million for having me.
You heard it here first. Dennis Frimpong wants to end this one in the third round. Well, folks, that just about does it for us. But before we go, I'd love to leave you with a conversation I had with Josh Dean, who is coming off of a loss in his amateur debut and spoke of how that loss may be the best possible outcome of that fight. Truly a great listen.
Joining us now is amateur MMA prospect Josh Dean, who competes this weekend. Josh, feeling ahead of fight day?
Really good. I would say camp's gone well, but as we say at our gym, we're never really in camp. We're just always training, always ready to go. So yeah, it's been nice to stay injury free this time and not have a cut to manage and be able to really work on every aspect of my game. I'm feeling really good, full of energy, and the cut's going really well. So yeah, just really excited to get in there.
So how does it feel to have that first loss out of the way before you get back in there this weekend?
Yeah, it's probably the best thing that could have happened to me at this point in my career. I feel like I've got the experience of 3 or 4 fights from that one loss. And, you know, if I would have gone in there and got a quick win, it's really helped me break down aspects of my game I've needed to work on, go back to the drawing board and look at things I can do better. So, yeah, if anything, it was a blessing in disguise. And, you know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's a fight. A loss isn't going to put me off the sport. A loss isn't going to stop me training every day and getting to the gym and working on myself in and out of the gym. So, yeah, just really excited to get in there and see what improvements I've made from my own perspective and my own personal perspective, and then get my hand raised and get in that win column and get rolling.
Absolutely love to hear the confidence. You say you guys are always kind of in camp over there, but how much has preparation changed in comparison to the first time?
Yeah, as I say, we've just sort of broken down things that we need to do better from my personal perspective and my game. I had a cut to deal with 5 weeks out from the last fight. So, you know, I had no wrestling, I had no jiu-jitsu, I had no grappling. And that really, I think, affected my cardio. But it's not an excuse at the end of the day. I lost to the better man on the night, and fair play to him. So, yeah, I'm glad to have a proper camp under my belt. But yeah, as I say, we're in the gym every day. We all train hard. We all diet well. We don't really party much. We're just always training, always working hard, always pushing each other to get better. And that's why I love where I train, and that's why I love the sport. You know, it's just a constant improvement. Not even every week; it's every day for me. I feel like I'm getting better at that rate. So yeah.
How much does it mean for you to put on a performance and walk away with your first win this weekend?
It'll mean everything. It'll mean everything. But then again, you know, that's not the pressure I want to put on myself. I'm not going in there to win, because I think if you focus too much on not losing and winning, then you sort of come away from the game plan, or you come away from things that you're good at, and it can affect your performance in that way. So more than anything, I just want to go in and perform well, show what I've been working on, show the improvements I've got, and I'm sure that if I go in there and I perform to the best of my ability and I get in that good flow, then I'll come away with the win.
Before we let you go, where do you believe you have the biggest advantage, and how does this fight end?
We'll have to see on the night. I can't give away all my tricks just yet.
Thank you.
Speak after, no problem.
Yes, sir, for sure. We'll have to get you back on. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck this weekend, and we'll see you at UKFC 18.
A man that sure knows how to get people to listen. Thank you so much to Josh Dean and to Dennis Frimpong. Thank you so much to all of the fighters that squeezed us in on such short notice as well. Without you guys, none of this is possible, and I look forward to talking to so many more of you post-fight. We hope you've enjoyed this UKFC 18 preview show, and we will be bringing you a ton more in the future, including the post show for this here UKFC 18, and next week, a Cage Warriors 134 preview with Brad Wharton. You won't want to miss the content on Combat Sports UK, and on behalf of Combat Sports UK, this is Jendo signing off.
Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.